During your weekend with us. We know that weekend is when we all get a lot of stuff done. So we are glad that you are able to take time off to join us this evening. This is Parenting Resources and Initiatives. We are a faith-based, non-denominational organization, and we're committed to helping parents fulfill their God-given role of raising well-rounded children. We strive to enable families to thrive by encouraging them to provide excellent parent-child communications within the home, creating a conducive environment in the home, a conducive environment where a child's potentials can be maximized. We encourage, we support, and we provide resources for parents so that they can raise children who are around, who are spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally sound. We have mentoring programs for ages 12 to 18, and we also have mentoring programs for college kids. We host and facilitate youth programs, retreats, and other youth events for churches as well as for other organizations, other youth organizations. Today we are looking at the topic, developing a sustainable health and wellness lifestyle for your family. What do we mean by health and wellness lifestyle? There's a lot that goes on, in our homes, in our lives. And sometimes if we are not careful, if we are not intentional about it, our health is, what takes the back seat. Everything is quick, instant this, instant that. We don't pay attention, or it's easy to miss the important things. This afternoon, we have a professional that is going to help us to look at what the important things are that we need to pay attention to. Before I introduce our speaker, I just want to share a quick fact, from the World Health Organization. The WHO says that more than 1.1 million adolescents aged 10 to 19 died in 2016, over 3,000 per day, mostly from preventable or treatable causes. Half of all mental health disorders in adulthood start by age 14, and most cases are undetected and untreated. The report also says that around 1.2 billion people, or 1 out of 6 people in the world's population, are adolescents aged 10 to 19. Most are healthy, but there's still a substantial premature death, illness, and injury among adolescents. These illnesses can hinder their ability to grow and develop to their full potential. So you see why it is important for us to start paying attention, Alcohol or tobacco use, lack of physical activity, unprotected sex, and or exposure to violence can jeopardize not only their current health, but even their ability to grow up to become healthy adults, and of course that impacts their own children's health as well, because it is what you are as a parent that your children become eventually if there's no external intervention. So promoting healthy behaviors during adolescent ages and taking steps to better protect young people from health risk is critical for the prevention of health problems in adulthood. And to the extent that we can, protect our children at the home front, to the extent that we can have healthy nations, all around the world. So again, like I said, we have a professional here who is ready to share her wealth of experience with us. I'm going to be reading her bio shortly. Please give me a minute. Let me swing to that. Her name is Dr. Sarah Omodele, and I'm going to be sharing her bio with us now. Give me a minute.
Kalema.
Mrs. Sarah Omodele holds a bachelor's degree from Rogers University in New Jersey and a master's degree in nursing from Georgia State University. She's a certified family nurse practitioner with over 17 years experience in cardiology, gastroenterology, and internal medicine. And she's currently working on her doctorate in lifestyle and medicine. She has great interest in preventative medicine and lifestyle medicine. Her passion is to bring awareness to how our diet and lifestyle plays a big role in our overall health. She's the owner of Unlayered Health and Wellness. And in this business, she focuses on lifestyle changes and health education. She's currently working as a sub-investigator doing clinical research. She's married with 2 lovely children. She enjoys reading, traveling, and spending quality time with her family. This afternoon, we are glad to have Sarah join us. Sarah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much.
So over to you. And please hold on, Sarah, one second.
Okay.
Please, in order for us to enjoy this meeting, we're going to go ahead and mute, excuse me, mute everybody, and then we'll mute Sarah. If you have a question, please put it in the chat, a comment, whatever, please put it in the chat. Thank you. Go ahead, Sarah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Sister Vala, for that warm welcome. You really said a lot of things that I was going to touch base on in regards to mental health. So I will just briefly go through that. I have a slide to share with you, just a couple of slides here to kind of educate everybody on mental health and also just health in general. So as we all know, mental health is really important. It's something that affects everybody, regardless of your age. I know we're focusing on the young adults today. We're focusing on, 10 to 19 years old, but it affects everybody. So the reason why mental health is really important is because, first of all, let's dig into what mental health is. It's just pretty much relates to your emotional health, your psychological health, and your social well-being. The way that you relate to others, the way that you manage stress, the way that you make choices. If your mental health is not on point, you're not going to make healthy choices for your physical health. I know a lot of us focus on the physical health, or we see our doctor and we go for a physical check and everything, but we forget the mental health part. Sometimes it's a stigma, with our culture. Nobody wants to talk about depression, anxiety, and all that, but it's part of life. We see our doctors every year, once a year, to do our regular checkup. But my philosophy is, if you have a regular doctor that checks yourself for your physical, you should have a psychologist or psychiatrist, or have a counselor or somebody that you talk to about your feelings, your emotions. So it's very, very important. So as I said, I have a couple of slides here, so let's get down to it. So my disclaimer, the thoughts and the information on this slides is solely from me, my opinion, my education, and my experience. It does not represent the opinion for any organization or any scientific organization that I belong to. And whatever I say here does not take the place of your medical doctor's recommendations. So objectives for this educational program, it's why is mental health important for the adolescents community? What are the risk factors for mental illness? How parents can offer support, and how to improve your mental health and physical health. So as Sister Bola said earlier, the age that we're concentrating on right now is between the age of 10 and 19. And the reason why mental health is really important for this age group is because they're still developing. They're trying to discover themselves. They're still going through a lot. Their brain is developing. They're very vulnerable. So it's very important at this age to really have a good foundation, making healthy lifestyle choices, managing their stressors. A lot of things that happen in the environment can affect the children at this age, in the family can affect the food that they eat and things like that. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper in the other slides, but this is really important that we should not take it for granted at all, because this can affect their life as adults. So why it matters, as I said, she's already said she gave a lot of data on that, so I'm not going to go back into that. Anxiety and depression is very common, even with adults at this age. And also with what's going on right now in the environment, the political environment, the pandemic going on, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of depression. So even though you might not have thought about it, but it's there. And the kids that we have, they might not know how to express themselves. They know that there's something going on, but they cannot process it or go through it properly. So it's really important for us to really pay attention to this. So the risk factors of mental illness in the young adults, low self-esteem can make them really vulnerable. Social media, a lot of them spend a lot of time on social media. We all know how social media is. A lot of what you see there is not real. You're going to put your best picture out there. You're going to put your best performance. You're not going to show yourself when you're sad or having a hard time. So that facade is what the young kids see, and they're like, oh my God, they feel pressured. So that that could relate to how they also view themselves, but it can lead to more depression, more anxiety. Poor parenting says here, if you're not training your kids right, they can have issues. A negative outlook on life. Also, if a parent has mental illness, say for instance, you're always anxious about everything, your kids can sense it. For instance, if you're not, anxious about what's going on in the environment and you're coming home, you're panicky, you're, oh my God, this and this and that, your kids sense that energy and they take it on and they go on and on and on, and they're also anxious. So if you also have like marital conflicts, divorce, things like that, the environment, it really takes a toll on these kids. And because, as I said, this age, they're really vulnerable, it's important for us to start building up resilience, start teaching them healthy coping skills so that they don't start using unhealthy coping skills to manage their anxiety, because everybody has stress, everybody has anxiety. Everybody at some point in their life will go through depression. You might not need medication to treat your depression, but you go through life, feeling sad. So what are the warning signs? Okay, so now the risk factors, what mental health is about, and anxiety and depression is very common. So how do I know if my child is having issues or is anxious? They have some social isolation. I see here there's a poll coming up. If you guys can answer that, that'll be awesome. So you can answer the poll and let's see what these results is. Let me minimize that. So warning signs, social isolation, they don't want to hang out with their friends they used to hang out with before, they're losing weight, they don't want to eat, or they're eating too much and they're gaining a lot of weight. They're struggling with their schoolwork, their grades are failing, they're very irritable, they're very anxious, they're very angry. You need to look into that. There might be something going on underlying that you need to really pay attention to as a parent. So achieving optimal mental health. So we're going to go to that now. I'm going to go through a lot. As I said, I have a couple of slides to tell you guys to kind of review. These things are very important for mental health and physical health. If you're trying to prevent or reverse chronic illnesses like, really common out there, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, studies have shown that these elements of life can actually prevent those things, can make your mental health better, can build resilience. So it's something that we don't really think about it it's simple or nutrition. Okay, well, exercise, taking a nap, sleeping. You might not really relate it, but it's very important. And studies have shown that people that actually practice 3 or more of this, are known to have less depression, less anxiety, can manage their health a little bit better. So here I have, as I said, nutrition, exercise, hydration, sleep, avoiding harmful substances, stress management, outlook, and social connection. Okay, so here I see the poll coming up. Okay, that's good. So let's see here. It says, are adolescents immune to mental illness? So no, they're not. That's good. I'm happy that a lot of you understand that. It says, why is my diet important for physical and mental health? Okay, that's good. Good answers. How many hours of sleep do teenagers need? 8 to 10. Awesome. You guys are smart. Look at that. Awesome. Okay, so let's keep going. So when it comes to nutrition, mental health, physical health, we don't really kind of marry them together. I've noticed that. As I said, I have, as Auntie Bola had introduced me earlier with my background, I worked in the hospital for so many years. I've seen a lot of chronic illnesses with adults, heart disease and things like that. But you never really connected to say your diet is really is the main thing here, what we put in our body, So for if you want to manage depression or manage high blood pressure, you have to look at what you're eating. You have to eat more plants. The average American diet, we only eat about 10% of fruits and vegetables. We eat more carbs, we eat more processed food, we eat more meat, and that's why we have all these chronic illnesses. That's why we have all this depression and anxiety. So a little bit about how diet can affect anxiety and depression and things like that. So if we take a little bit closer, take a look at how the kind of food that we eat. Say we eat a lot of fast foods, a lot of processed food. Those foods are high in calories, they're high in sugar, they're high in salts, and they're high in fat. So those things, they're pretty much highly concentrated, and they affect the brain. They increase the dopamine levels. Dopamine and serotonin, those are the 2 most common neurotransmitters. They work in the brain. Those are those little things that help you feel good, or if it's low, they can make you feel sad. So the food that you eat can actually increase those levels temporarily. If you eat something that is fatty, like French fries or things like that, donuts, you have that rush of sugar and energy. You feel good for a while, you get that energy, then after a while you come down. So studies have shown that up and down and roller coaster can actually cause depression, make it worse, can actually cause more anxiety, and obviously can cause chronic illnesses. Nutrition is really really important, and there's really no time for me to really go deep into nutrition, and that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about. And maybe another time when we can have another discussion, I can talk about nutrition, how you can actually reverse a lot of these diseases that we have. We can reverse diabetes now, we can reverse heart disease. We didn't know that before, but now we can. So moving to the next. So this is a diet that I highly recommend. I recommend a whole food plant-based diet. I know a lot of you have, you've noticed there's no meat and there's no dairy product or anything like that. That is what we recommend. Studies have shown that a diet that is high in animal products, dairy, and and oil, they cause a lot of chronic illnesses. They cause insulin resistance, inflammation, weight gain. So you have to eat like this, eat a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, drink water instead of drinking, sodas and diet sodas and things like that. You're worried about protein. Oh, how am I going to get my protein if I don't eat chicken and fish? There's so many foods that have protein in them that we have no idea about. Beans, for instance, has a lot of protein. Chickpea, nuts, legumes, they have all that without the cholesterol, um, without the fats and inflammation and things like that. And this applies to our young adults too. Whatever they start eating now, whatever habits they learn now, they're going to continue that to adults age, and also it's not too early to change your diet. It's not too early. You might think that, okay, kids, they're young, they can eat whatever they want to eat, that's fine, they're still young. We're having kids that have diabetes now. We're having kids that have heart disease now. We're having kids that have type 2 diabetes, cancer, they have arthritis, they have autoimmune disorders. They're not too young, even though they're young, but their body is their body is human, they will react the same way that we react. So it's important for us to make healthy choices and make all these foods available at home for the kids to pick. Okay. So the next element is hydration. We have to make sure that we drink a lot of water. As I said, the little things that we don't really pay attention to are very important. Hydration helps with weight control, helps with fatigue. If you're feeling tired or you have a little headache here and there, you might want to find out, am I drinking enough water? What's going on here? You need to hydrate a little bit more. If you drink a lot of water, it helps with your skin, it helps with digestion, it helps with toxin and elimination. So hydration is really good. Exercise. We need to exercise. We need to be physically active. A lot of us are not. We sit home, especially during this time, a lot of people work from home. A lot of kids are not at school. They're doing virtual learning. They need to be active. They need to walk around, find a sport that they like. If they like to run, if they like to jog, if they like to, just find something that will make you move, because it improves your mood, improves your self-esteem, especially at that age. It keeps your weight from, getting out of control. And I would recommend at least 30 to 60 minutes per day, of physical activity. Do something that will make you sweat a little bit, as opposed to just, sitting down and not doing anything. So this is very common at this age. As I said, young adults, they always want to explore, the environment, the society, encourages it. But kids that are especially vulnerable, as I said, this age, their brain is growing and things like that. If they start getting involved in, smoking and using drugs, it can actually tip them over, and some of them can actually develop full-blown mental disorders like schizophrenia, like bipolar. Studies have shown that, if a child has the risk factor or is susceptible to have schizophrenia, if they take drugs like marijuana or whatever, things like that, they end up becoming a full-blown schizophrenic. So you really have to be careful. Kids need to avoid this, and also adults. We tell our kids, don't do this, don't do that, but they look at us and we're doing the same thing. The kids are not going to believe us. They're not going to believe us. They're going to be like, okay, but mommy's doing it, so why can't I do it? So we also have to, avoid all this harmful substances. Stress management. So this is important for overall health and for mental health. A lot of us go through stress. Right now, there's a lot of stress. As I said, the environment is stressful. The political atmosphere, there's a lot of stress going on. The kids, there's the school work. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of work to do. So it's important for us to learn healthy coping skills to help us manage our stress. So for me personally, whenever I'm stressed, I know some of you can relate to this. Before I found a healthier way. Whenever I'm stressed, I eat. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, it's a common thing. It's called emotional eating. You know, when you're stressed, you just grab something and just eat. You know, if you're lonely, you're stressed, you're depressed, you just eat, eat, eat. So whenever I'm stressed, I eat. But when I realized that, okay, I need to find another way to manage my stress, you know, then I was able to start living healthier. I started losing weight. You know, I found other things that was less destructive to my body. So examples that I have here for you, you know, meditation, relaxation, they help a lot. I practice meditation, I practice deep breathing. It helps a lot to manage your stress. You can journal, you know, they can write your feelings down, just write it out, and that will help you process and manage your stress. You can listen to music, calming, soothing music. You can take walks outside, you know, get the sunlight in, fresh air, take a walk. Actually, it helps your brain. It helps declutter your brain, especially when you go outside and take a walk. You know, it helps a lot. Trust me, I do it all the time. Whenever I go outside and take a walk when I'm stressed, it's like I just feel so calm. And whatever I'm stressed about, is not as stressful as I thought it was. I'm able to now manage my time and manage, you know, the things going on. So definitely stress. I mean, walking helps a lot with stress management. Practicing gratitude. That's something that, you know, science have backed it up now. If you practice gratitude, gratitude just meaning being thankful for the little things. It changes your brain. It changes the way you process things. You know, you can have like list 5 things a day that you're grateful for. It's little things. You know, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my job. You know, I'm grateful that I'm alive. You know, if you start thinking that way, you know, it changes your mind, it changes your outlook, and you're able to manage, you know, what you have on your plate. And sometimes you might need to reevaluate what you have on your plate. You know, if you have too many things you're juggling, you know, you might have to take some things away so you can get your sanity and so you can keep your health. Okay, so let's keep moving. Sleep. Sleep is very important too. We take that for granted. I've heard some people say, oh, sleep is overrated. No, it's not. It's very important. Sleep is not overrated at all. Studies have shown that if you don't have enough sleep, say people that have less than 7 hours of sleep a day, it's shown that they have a lot of chronic illnesses. You know, they develop a lot of chronic illnesses. They have problem with their memory and concentration. You know, they have problem with weight. You know, they gain a lot of weight during that time. They have issues with their moods and emotions and things like that. So sleep is very important because when you sleep, that's when your brain is actually, you know, keeping all the things that's happened during the day, what you've learned, what you've seen. It keeps it in the storage house somewhere for long-term memory. But if you don't have enough sleep, you know, you cheat your body of that sleep, you know, you can't remember. I mean, some of you might notice, and maybe if that happened to you, if you don't have enough sleep for quite a while, then you're trying to remember something. You can't. You're like, oh, I can't remember what. It's because your brain did not have that enough time to store away those, you know, those information. So for our young adults, you know, as we see here, between the age of 10 and 17, it's recommended that they have at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep. And if you're 17 and up, you know, 7 to 8 hours or 7 to 9 hours. You know, for us that are busy, I mean, try to get at least 8 hours of sleep in. You know, you trust me, you'll feel better once you sleep consistently 8 hours a day. So the next is social connection. Humans were made to interact with others, were made to socialize, were made to communicate with others. So if you isolate yourself, you have more problems, you have more depression, more anxiety. You have to interact with others, you know, find that connection, interact with your family. I know what's going on right now. There's a lot of social distancing going on, but you can still have that connection. Okay. Zoom meetings like we're doing right now, FaceTime, calling your family on WhatsApp or whatever, just get that connection. I know sometimes we might not be able to physically meet, our friends and families, but at least you have that interaction. It's very, very important because, as I say, humans were made to interact. It improves your feeling of belonging, improves just your feeling of being loved and wanted. So, those things affect your brain, so social connection, definitely very important. Also, I listed here self. Sometimes you want some time alone. You need to be able to connect with yourself. Connect with yourself meaning, okay, I have some me time. What do I want? What are my values? You need to connect, you need to connect with yourself. You need to connect with nature, go outside, take a look at the sky, the trees. It helps a lot with your mental health and your physical health. If you have pets, that's great for connection and community, the church, your study groups, or on Facebook. There's a lot of groups out there. Even though social media might not be 100% positive, but it's also 100% positive. Yeah, I'm sorry. Social media is, it's good and also can be bad. But when it comes to community, you have all these little groups here and there, so you still have that connection and belonging. So let's look at mindset and outlook. So that also affects our overall health and physical health, and mental health. So as I said, gratitude, you have to practice gratitude because that helps improve your mood. You have to surround yourself with positive people that love you, people that care about you. And also your attitude affects your mental health a lot. If you look at things always on the negative side, it's going to make you always feel negative. But if you look at things on the positive side, you have more, your outlook on life will be better, and that will improve your self-esteem, improve your mood, and also improve, as I said, your mental health, because that's the thing that we're really focused on. So tips to improve your mood, little tips, as I said earlier, still the same thing, journaling, exercising, spending time in nature. You have to, interact with others. You can't just, stay on your own. You have to express yourself, communicate with people, tell people how you feel. Those things help you a lot. So now that we know, we've gone through all the elements of how to optimize our physical health and mental health. Now, what is the role of the parents? What are we, parents, that what can we do to our kids? How can we help them, be resilient? How can we help them build, strong coping skills? So for parents, we are responsible for a lot. We need to spend time with them. We need to, talk to them. How is your day going? What's going on? Just don't ignore them and say, oh, well, he's doing his own thing or she's doing her own thing. No, you need to find out what's going on. How was your day? How are you feeling today? Just give them a little bit of support, get involved in their life. Encourage them to share their feelings. Some of them, because they're young, they're still going through that process. They might not know how to express themselves. With my daughter, I was trying to ask her a couple of questions of how I feeling, how she felt about certain things. She didn't really know how to express it. So I had to kind of give her, okay, do you feel this way? Do you feel that way? So you have to let them tell you how they feel, and you can help them process through that emotion. Try to do things together, try to give them space. Also, don't overwhelm them with, okay, you have to be here, I want to see you, you have to be, no, you have to give them a little bit of space. And also this, as I said, as we're supporting our children, we also have to set good examples. We have to eat healthy. We have to exercise ourselves. We have to practice what we preach. We have to take care of ourselves. If we are sad, if we're depressed or we're anxious or we're not physically active or we're not healthy, we can't take care of our children. We can't take care of our kids. So we also need to take care of ourselves, because you can't give from an empty cup. You can't. If you need help, if you're also going through a little, challenges and things like that, reach out for help. Learn how to manage your stress also. The things that I listed, earlier are also things that you can do for yourself, for your own well-being. So when do we seek professional help? Now you've looked at the warning signs, the risk factor, you've done all this, but you still feel like there's something going on. You have to reach for help. If you notice that your child has suicidal thoughts, you've tried your best, but there's just something is not right. They're failing in school, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're very isolated, they're not interacting with anybody. That is the time you need to go out and reach for help. You need to get a doctor, get a professional, get a counselor, and help them through. So in summary, in order for you to promote your mental health and your physical health and build resilience and also prevent illnesses in the long run, you need to do this, stay active. As I said, you have to stay connected, avoid harmful substances. You need to eat healthy, make healthy choices, stay away from the fatty foods and the oils and the things out, processed foods, stay away from those, and learn how to manage your stress and sleep well. Okay, so this is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was a mouthful. And I have many questions, and I've written down a couple.
Sure.
But I'll let the audience go. But first, I would want to say, okay, your diet, starting from you showed us that wonderful plate. It looks good, but honestly, for those of us who can handle a plant-based only diet, there must be something else that we can add that at least maybe it's I would say maybe the least harmful animal protein category that we can add to our food. Because I don't see myself eating plant-based only. And I know that is the optimal, condition. That is what will get us the optimal health. But
Right.
While we are transitioning, what can we do?
Well, I know I will not, I'll be lying if I told you it was easy, especially with our background, where we come from is all meat. What I've done personally is I've reduced the amount that I take. So for instance, if you're eating any animal products, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Sunday to Sunday, 7 days a week, you can cut it down. You can have maybe like a meatless Monday, for Monday, don't eat any meats, Tuesday, don't, stuff like that. Change it gradually. Some might not be able to go, from meats to no meats. That might be hard, but just reduce it. And I also think the fact that you're aware of it now, as I said, education, knowledge is very important. The fact that studies have shown it's so amazing how much science changes all the time and how much education we have all the time. And you realize that, oh my God, so this is actually the reason why somebody that has diabetes, no matter how you change your diet, you get on insulin, you never get off your medication. It gets worse. Your diabetes can never get better. It gets worse, So you have to reduce the animal content, just eat more beans, eat more fruits and vegetables, potatoes, yams, carbohydrates are not the enemy. It's the processed carbohydrates that is the enemy.
Thank you. How about fish?
I mean, fish is also animal product, but fish is still, as I said, it still has the saturated fats, it still has, the inflammation. And because of the way that our foods are made now, the animal products, even the fruits and vegetables, there's so many chemicals. You can't guarantee, a wild caught salmon or a wild caught tilapia is healthy because of the pollution, because of so many things that they eat. So, I mean, fish, they have mercury. We talk about mercury in fish, they talk about, I mean, fish, as I said, the ultimate goal and the best diet is to be 100% plant-based, but obviously that's difficult. So if you want to eat fish, that's fine, but not a lot, just reduce it. As I said, maybe eat your animal product 2 or 3 times a week. If you have to eat fish, don't eat too much. Make your plates more plants, more potatoes, rice, beans, fruits and vegetables, and put very little of the animal products. That's the main thing.
So it's more like moderation, at least starts with moderation, and then you can eventually graduate to plant only if you can.
If you can. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not as difficult as, as people think. I thought it was really difficult for me to be plant-based. Now, I'm not 100% plant-based. I'll say I'm about 80 to 90% plant-based, but I thought it was difficult, but there's so many alternatives that you can eat and you can still get that flavor and you not miss the meat or you won't miss the chicken. I mean, it's at the end of the day is mindset, really, is your mindset. It is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. This is really great information. And thank you all for posting your questions in the chat. I have 2 questions I just saw in the chat. The first one is, does standing and walking around in the kitchen for hours satisfy walking outside for an hour? And
that's interesting. Well, I mean, the main thing is physical activity. Your walk, okay, fine, you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you're doing all that stuff, you're active. Fine is not where we want it to be. I want you to be able to, burn more calories, be more active. But if that's the activity that you can get, if being in the kitchen for an hour, walking around and doing stuff is what you can get to keep you moving, why not? You're active. You're not sitting on the couch eating chips or just relaxing for hours and hours. You're moving. So that's definitely, that's good. You can do that.
Great, and thank you. There's another question. In terms of substance use, how do e-cigarettes fare?
E-cigarettes. So from what I know about e-cigarettes, so with e-cigarette, they take away, and that's the thing about, they always try to make a bad habit good. We always try to, okay, well, you're not supposed to, smoke, but well, we're going to do e-cigarette. Smoking is not good, period. So why butter it up? So e-cigarettes, I would not recommend that, because even though it doesn't have the tar, I mean, some of them, it doesn't have the harmful substances, but it still has the nicotine in there. And the nicotine is what is addictive. And if you're addicted to anything, that thing is taking control of your life. It's taking control of your brain. It's going to taking control of what, of who you are. So anything that's going to keep you addicted to it, I would not recommend. So, e-cigarette, as I said, the tar and the cancer causing thing might not be there, but the addictive substance is still in there. and that it's not, for the brain is really not good, for your mental health, it's definitely not encouraged.
Okay, I have another question. How can parents help a child who is not making friends and does not interact outside of the home?
Okay, that's interesting. So it's a gradual thing. So you have to find out why. Spend some time with your child. What's going on? Why is it that they don't want to interact? What's going on? Are they scared? Is there some anxiety going on? You need to probe a little bit, deeper. And once you find out exactly, okay, this is what's going on. You're anxious about school, or you're anxious about the environment. You can talk to them, take little steps. Okay, fine, you don't want to go outside. Okay, maybe we can go outside together. We can go outside together for 5 minutes, then maybe 10 minutes, or you find a friend that they can talk to. It's just little baby steps, and you have to also encourage them, and find out exactly what's going on and why they don't want to go outside, because there's always something that they're not telling you.
And if I may add to that, as parents, and this is something I did when my children were much younger, I actually identified younger people, but who share my values, who my children can talk with. And I identified those people. I kind of connected my children with them. Of course, I had a conversation with those people because I wanted them to be on the lookout. We African parents can be funny, and sometimes we can be weird too. Everything is noise, everything is shouting, everything is sit down there, or shut up and things like that. And sometimes because of that attitude that we have, we can easily miss the warning signals. So what I did at that point, years back, was to encourage my children to develop relationship with those people, whereby if for some reason they are not able to talk with me, they have other adults in their lives that they can open up to, that they feel comfortable with. So I think, I always say this, those kind of relationships need to be in place way before you need it. So that over time, if you happen to find out that your child is not interacting and things like that, you can reach out to those people, such that they can have a conversation. Maybe at the first try, the second try, your child is absolutely not opening up to you and something is wrong. There has to be people, that over time, your maybe other adults that you think your child is comfortable with interacting with. That's what I did back then. And every now and then, even though my children are, young adults of their own now, but I've found that it works. There's times that those, maybe those people will just take them out for a walk, or, stay back after church and talk with them and just sound them out. And they're able to, because the truth is that sometimes because of a strained relationship with a parent, a child will not open up. And God forbid, by the time you realize it, the deed is done. They're seriously sick, seriously depressed, or they've had a meltdown and things like that. You don't want it to get to that point. So earlier on, you want to ensure that there are people around you and around in their lives that they can open up to, and at least kind of who can get through to them if you are not getting through to them. That's what I'd like to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The information is amazing and we're learning so much. There's yet another question, and please just keep them coming. This is free consultation, so let's make good use of it. This one says, depression and suicide are on the rise in immigrant children. What do you think is responsible?
Well, personally, I think it's because of the expectations, the new environment. They're trying to balance the culture that they're coming from with the culture that they're in. So it could be confusing for them. They're trying to fit in the community, with their friends, with the American population and the culture, but at the same time, they have the values, they have what their parents want them to do. And it's really hard for them sometimes to balance both. And I think that's where the depression and the anxiety comes in. And they don't know how to manage that. Their parents want them, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. You have this expectation, you're supposed to go to medical school, you're supposed to be a doctor, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that, you're supposed to have perfect grades. But sometimes that's not, what they want to do. And they end up getting depressed, and, it gets too much for them. So I think that's the reason why those rates are elevated. And if Auntie Bola can chime in, you can tell us what you think about that.
You're absolutely right, Sarah. Many of us have expectations of our kids that are not realistic. And whether we like it or not, there's a whole lot out there that these kids have to deal with. For instance, let's say you're an immigrant family, and one, like, you are a Nigerian at home, you are not a Nigerian at school, your child deals with labeling at school, or they label them because their accent is thick, or their accent is strong, or they're Black, or their hair is different, and other kids already make fun of them outside, and then they come home, the environment at home is not conducive either. So you have to understand how this affects a child. So it's like, I'm neither here nor there. Even as an adult, it's something I had to deal with at work. When I first started working, now I tell people I've paid my dues and nobody can mess with me. If you try it, you're only going to lose your job if you don't end up going to jail. But it wasn't always like this. I started out in corporate America having a thick accent. I still have a thick accent, but, I've learned to navigate my way, But, imagine for a child, they start out, they pick on them at school, or where are you from? You you should be able to believe it because we still saw it, or we heard it from our president recently, our American president, calling us names. So they go to school, they call them names. They ask them, do you live on trees? Or did you live on trees before you came here? Or, why are you like this? What happens in your house? Those kinds of things damage their self-esteem. And then if they now come home where they expect it to be a sanctuary of some sort, and all we do is shout at them, shout them down, you're not even paying attention. It can really, 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 really damage a child. It can damage a child. It can depress them to the point of, like what you said, they start having failing grades. Recently, I saw on Instagram, and it shook me for a few days. This Kenyan woman who posted, something about her son who committed suicide. I don't know what the background story in the family is, but apparently the child was being bullied in his school, and then they moved him to another school thinking that would help. But he had failing grades, and I think he failed one major exam, and then before they knew it, he committed suicide. He hung himself right in his mother's veranda, the veranda of the apartment. And it was some younger kids that came and called the mom to come and find the child. And here she was on Instagram. My heart went out to her because apparently she must have missed some clues. I pray that none of us will get there, but it means that we have to really pay attention. We have to pay attention. We have to make sure that we have a relationship with our child such that they are open to discuss with us, whether they are being labeled, or they are being bullied, or they are being harassed, or whether they are just struggling with their academics. If we keep telling them, if you fail that course, I'm going to kill you, that's not going to help them. So we as parents, we have to, you are the number one impact on your child's life. So even though other people may be in a position to help you, the work is yours. And part of what you have to do is to make sure you're accessible to your child. You may say, oh, I'm accessible, I'm home all the time, or they have access to me, but do they have access to you in terms of trust, in terms of confidence, in terms of, emotional stuff? Can they really open up to you? Can they really confide in you? Can they be themselves with you and say, Mommy, I'm struggling with this course? Or for instance, I've been called, like PRI, not personally, but PRI has been asked to intervene with some college kids that wanted to go in a particular direction, and their parents insisted that that child must study a particular course. I don't want to go into details because there might be people here who know them. And this child, thank God, one of our sisters was able to really connect with the child. She's a college student here in Atlanta. She really became very suicidal. She became very suicidal, and she was this close to committing suicide. But thank God for divine intervention, and because that sister was very, very sensitive in her spirit, eventually she asked for permission from the girl to speak to her parents, and eventually was able to redirect her. This was, I think she was a second year, a third year student on campus here, one of the campuses here in Atlanta. And that might have been another statistics, you know. So we have to pay attention. We have to be open. We have to be accessible. We have to build a supportive relationship with our children. You shouldn't be that kind of parent that, you know, all you do, the only time they hear your voice is when you're condemning them. You don't affirm them. You have to affirm your child. You have to help them build their self-esteem. Like I said earlier, there's a whole lot of negative stuff that they have to deal with outside. They shouldn't have to deal with those same kind of negative stuff at home. Home is where they should be able to open up their hearts and say, Mommy, Daddy, this is what I'm dealing with, you know, and then you should be able to help them through it, you know. That's how I think we can help them. And of course, if all else, you know, everything else does not seem to work, we need to look for help. We need to look for help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's a great segue into a question that just popped up. Looking for help. It says, why is there an unwillingness to seek professional help amongst Africans, immigrants, and Black people in general?
I think it's just our belief system, you know, it's just stereotype, you know. They don't want to be labeled, oh, you have mental illness, you know, you're not tough, you're not strong, you're not managing your emotion, you know. It's that stereotype. I think that's the reason why, you know, we don't like, you know, we don't want to be labeled. You know, but people don't like to be labeled. It's something that is shunned on. I don't know what the background is, why that is, but I think it's just a belief, like, oh, you don't want people to know that, you know, you have issues, or you're depressed, you're anxious. Nobody wants to talk about it. You know, I don't know why, but it's just the culture. I think it's a culture thing.
That's true. And sometimes I wonder why, like you said, that you don't know what the background is, because I don't know why we would want to go to our GPs, you know, our family practitioners. And when we think we have, I don't even know why we call it mental, you know, I don't know where that word came from, you know, maybe that word itself, maybe the definition of the word or something. Sarah, you are the health professional here. Maybe it's the definition of the word that makes people, you know, want to, you know, like shy away from it. You know, I lost my mom early this year, and then shortly after that, COVID and everything. And I started realizing that I was losing my train of thought. I was constantly forgetting stuff. I'm in a profession where I've been in this profession for about 16 years, at least in the US, not counting my Nigeria experience. And I started to make silly mistakes that an entry-level person should not even make. At that time, that was when I realized, okay, I think I need help. And yeah, my company offers some benefits in that regard. I went and looked up the resources, and I called the line, you know, I chatted with them online, and then they gave me a call, and I set up appointment. Right now, I'm in a, like, I think it's going to be 6 to 9 weeks is what the counselor said. But yes, I'm taking counseling for, you know, whatever it is. I don't know whether it's depression, it's full-blown depression or whatever, but there is no stigma, there should be no stigma in it. If you're again, like maybe we'll display the risk factors again. Sarah, if you don't mind sharing those risk factors again, if you start to see those risk factors in yourself or in your child, you should please get help. It's better to get help. Like they say, it's better safe than sorry, you know, because One, if you're able to talk to someone about it, maybe what you think is a big issue, they're able to help you to break it down and help you to understand that, well, this is the natural progression. Maybe you've had some trauma, you've gone through difficult, a difficult semester or a difficult time at work. And yes, it's natural that you begin to feel discouraged and things like that. But if you don't talk to people, how do they know how to help you? So I'm sharing my experiences just so we know. It doesn't mean that if you go to talk to a counselor, it doesn't mean that you're going mad, like they say. It does not equate to that. It just means that it could be a hormonal imbalance. Maybe there's some sort of imbalance that is predisposing you towards that. Like I said, I started to make mistakes that an entry-level professional shouldn't make. And I said, no, that's not where I want to be. I need help, I need help. And I sought out, by the time I finished talking with the agent, it's a network of professionals. They are able to say, okay, this is the kind of help you need. We will go ahead and schedule you. Somebody will reach out to you and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I want to encourage us. There should be no stigma about this. Please, let's get help for ourselves, or let's get help for our children. If you're not sure, talk to someone and then you can go from there. If you have insurance, for most people, your insurance would cover it. But even if the insurance does not cover it, there are websites where there are free resources available, where at least they can do maybe the first consultation, right, Sarah? They can do the first consultation free, and you can go from there to see. And I'll pause, and then after that, if there's another question, we'll take that, and then I'll ask Sarah to actually tell us what her company, her business does. And in case some of us might need her help, need her services, we can reach out to her, Okay, I think there's a question coming here. Valerie, over to you.
Yes, there's a question about the warning signs. Are the warning signs the same for adults?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It's, obviously if they're younger, if they're, younger than 10 years old, they might have little different ways of expressing themselves, but it's the same thing with adults. You're not sleeping well, you're losing sleep, you're not concentrating well, you're very irritable, you're very angry, you don't know why, you're just so upset. You don't know why you're finding a hard time concentrating. You're trying to read a book, but you're reading the same sentence 2, 3, 4 times. It's not clicking. Then you know that you lose. There might be some depression going on in there. You're not eating. You're skipping meals. You're losing weight, or you're eating too much. You're just soothing yourself. So those are the warning signs. You're just, you're isolated. You don't want to hang out with your friends anymore. The things that you used to love doing. For instance, if you love, going out with your friends, or you love going to the gym, or you love shopping. Let's use an example. You love shopping. Then all of a sudden you find yourself, you don't want to go shopping anymore. Things that gave you joy, things that you always enjoy doing, you don't want to do them anymore. Then that's kind of like a sign, like, okay, there's something going on. You're eating too much, you're not sleeping enough, you don't want to get involved in anything, those are the signs. Those are the signs that you might be going through depression. Sleep is a big thing. I think a lot of people don't know that whenever they're depressed, because their mind is going through, is racing, is playing a lot of, playing a lot of things, and kind of like a little sin there in your brain, you can't sleep. If you're sleeping 2, 3 hours, you're waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning or earlier consistently, you're wondering why. There might be something going on that you need to pay a little bit of attention to. So definitely it's the same warning signs.
Okay, Sarah, one more question for you. What should we be doing? Okay, we've looked at the risk factors, we've looked at the warning signs. What is one very important thing that if we don't do anything else, this is one important thing that we need to focus on as family, especially as parents, to help out, because we know that if we are able to help our children, you know, half of the, or more than half of the work is done, because they have a strong platform from which to spring, you know. So what is one thing that we should focus on?
I think it's spending time. I think quality time is very important. You know, even though you don't get the diet in, you don't get the exercise in, you don't get to hydrate, but that connection, that social connection, that personal connection is very, very important when it comes to mental health, because you can, you can help them feel better if they're going through depression or they're anxious. You know, you can talk to them. It's going to be okay. Let's work things through. So I think if anything, it's that connection, that letting them know that you understand them, you love them, you're here for them. You know, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to yell at you. You know, you make the
I'm not going to kill you.
I'm not going to kill you. make the environment, less stressful for them. You know, I mean, parenting is hard. You know, no matter how much you try, kids will do what they want to do, and kids don't always come out 100% perfect. But at least you try. You know, if they come to you, okay, mommy, I want to do this. Don't yell. Why are you doing that? Find that, okay, why do you want to do that? What are your thoughts about that? Make it more like a conversation, because if they know the reason why you don't want them to do that, they will think about it. Oh, I never thought of it. But if you just condemn them and say, no, you're not supposed to do that, that's not what you're supposed to do, la, 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 then some kids will just rebel and do what you told them not to do just because they want to prove a point. So I think the main thing is communication. The main thing is spending that quality time with your kids.
Thank you. So go ahead and tell us about Unlayered Health and Wellness. Tell us what you do, and tell us, where we can find you or how we can find you.
Sure. So Unlayered Health and Wellness is, it's my little baby, as I call it, is to help, everyone live healthy, healthy lifestyle, educating, weight loss. I talk to my clients, because I have a couple of clients that I'm working with. I talk to them about how they can live a healthy lifestyle, how they can, some of them get off the medications, how they can lose weight. The main thing is education, because if you can educate people without just telling them do X, Y, and Z, but educate them, they can make good decisions. So that's what I do. I do health coaching. I coach people on, how to live a healthier lifestyle. So that's really my passion.
Do you have a website where we can find information, or maybe your Facebook page, your handle, your social media handle?
Yeah, I mean, on Facebook, it just says Unlayered Health and Wellness. So you just type that in and you see it come up. And on Instagram, it says Unlayered Wellness, and you can see, you can see me there. I have a private Facebook group that I have, quite a number of people that I'm, that I'm nurturing, that I'm coaching, so it's also open. It's mainly for healthcare providers, nurses and doctors and things like that. But the people in the group, they're women, they're professional women that just want to learn more about eating healthy. They want to lose weight. So the group is also open for them to just get that education and support.
Do you have an email address, your business email address, if people want to reach out to you directly?
Sure. It's unlayeredwellness@gmail.com.
Okay, hold on. Unlayered wellness@gmail.com. Okay, so if someone wants to reach out to you directly, like there are some people that may not be on social media and want to just shoot you an email to find out how you can help them. So unlayeredwellness@gmail.com, they can send you an email and you'll be willing to talk with them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Sarah. This has been absolutely enlightening, the little things that we can do to make sure our family stays healthy, or to begin our journey of being healthy. If we wherever you are today, you can always start to make improvements. You can always take the baby steps. Like I started to eat more fish. I've cut down beef for a while, but recently somebody brought me this tray of ayamase. Oh my God. And I am struggling with that tray of ayamase, but for the most part, I eat chicken, I eat turkey, and I'm increasing the fish, And again, like I shared, there's no shame in looking for help. I recently signed up for counseling and therapy. Yeah, you see my face, I look so good, but I know that I'm struggling with some things, And the truth is, if I don't seek help, it may degenerate and go in a direction that I don't want. So please seek help, get help, talk to a friend. If you're a Christian and you go to a church, talk to your pastor. But more importantly, if you really think things are going overboard, please seek professional help. There's no reason why anyone should be hiding. Please don't hide. We're here. You can call me. My email address, I'm going to put my email address there. You can email me. And I respond to that email personally. I can give you my phone number. Feel free to text me. Just make sure you're not isolated. Make sure you are not isolated. Like Sarah said, one of the important things that she said, and I think I put it in the chat, is that God made human beings to interact. God made human beings to interact. We are not meant to live life in isolation. So if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, like the whole world is crumbling on your head, please look out for, reach out to someone, let someone know. Let someone know. Nobody should have to live life alone. If you've been at any of our programs, this is something I always stress, that each one of us need a network of support. And that network needs to be in place before you need it. By the time you need it, it's already, if it's not in place already, it's a bit tough. So you need it. Do your children know who are the first 3 people to call if anything happens? And do those people know that, you have put them there, like 1, 2, 3, if anything happens to me, or if you're trying to reach mommy and you can't reach mommy, or you can't reach daddy, or daddy and mommy are acting up, like teenagers have a way of, referring to us, or they say, my mom doesn't get it, my daddy doesn't get it. When you and your spouse are not getting it, or when you are not getting it and your kids are frustrated, do they have people that they can go talk to? You need to, and for yourself, even for yourself, you need a network of support of people. I had people here living with me for 2 or 3 weeks when I lost my mother. If those people were not here, because my kids are not in town, my kids are out of state. So I can't imagine that, something like that happens and I'm by myself. I would have run crazy. That's the truth. But thank God, somebody reached me within the first hour when I received the news. The other person was waiting for me at home. There were people making plans for me, driving me around, taking me everywhere. Who are those people in your life? Who is in your network of support? Do they have information about you? Do your children know those people? Please, let's not live isolated lives. Let's build a community of support for one another. So again, thank you so very much for coming, for joining us. If you would like to join Parenting Resources, we have our Facebook groups, we have WhatsApp group chat, we have a YouTube channel. If you look for PRI_ATL in YouTube, you will find some resources there. We're putting some more there. So we're here to help you. We're here to help your family. We pray with one another. We encourage one another. And we want to see you thrive. We want to see your family thrive. Again, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing this wealth of information with us. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Sarah. That was very insightful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.